Okay, so we will speak about the Biocheck tool, a comprehensive approach to marine biodiversity data validation.
Is it services?
Yes, it's services, and then it's your name somewhere.
There, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's a PDF.
It's
so,
a PDF.
But then you probably have to go to
do this, and I'll have to do. And I think I'll just have to show it, maybe.
F11 or something.
No, that's not it.
Tools. How do we get in full screen mode on a PDF? F11.
Yeah. On a PDF.
Not this one. No.
No.
Somebody help, please. Yeah, isn't it?
Control F?
Or F11.
No. Control F, it's control find. F11.
Did you manage?
No.
It's okay. It's full screen now, but it's not there.
It's not there. Yeah.
I think it was out yesterday.
They said on the right side, so it should be maybe one here.
It's not full screen.
Oh, there you go. Okay, now we have it.
Ah, yeah, there you go. Okay. So good morning, everyone. So yesterday, my presentation was focusing on IMONET biology as an initiative, and today I'm focusing on a tool that we've developed to quality control biodiversity data. I am presenting on behalf of Ruben because he couldn't be here. So I think all of you will know why we need quality control. I think preaching to the converted here. We all know it's an important step in the data life cycle, and that errors can come from different sources. So in the images we have, for example, a marine biodiversity monitoring program in Svalbard, but as you can see, there are some records in India, so what's going on there? Basically, the latitude and longitude were swapped. And on the right-hand side, you have also a monitoring program in Belgium, but with some records in the UK. And in this case, it was a negative longitude sign that was added. Yeah, so we have a lot of different things, which I'm sure many of you have encountered as well in the data that you work with. So in this slide, we have a drop in taxa records from 6K to 4K. And this is due to spelling variations and to synonyms in taxa. So when we're doing, before publishing data, so when we're doing quality control, there are a number of things that we have to look at so that the data have the highest quality possible and they are useful and reusable for everyone. So the quality control is essential to accurately comprehend and forecast species populations, trends, and supporting well-informed decisions and conservation and ecological matters and policy. So the Biocheck tool. This was developed as a collaboration between the LifeWatch and IMONET biology projects. As you know, IMONET is an EU service for marine biodiversity in situ data. And as I've said yesterday, one of our roles is also to gather and publish high-quality biodiversity data with its associated parameters, be it environmental or related to the taxa that was observed or collected. This tool works on IPT resources. So IPT is a tool that is used in the biodiversity community. It's a tool, it means integrated publishing tool. It's developed by GBIF, the Global Biodiversity Information Facility. And it's basically the tool to share biodiversity data. So the development of this tool is done by GBIF. Anyone can host an instance and just do the technical maintenance, meaning the upgrades. But if there is a bug, that will go to GBIF, and they do that development. And it's used in GBIF, as I said. It's used by OBIS, the Ocean Biodiversity Information System, and of course, it's also used in IMONET biology. So the tool that we developed performs two main different actions. One of them is provides a data overview of the data set that you're quality controlling, where you can have an overview of the sampling events and the occurrence records. Occurrence records referring to the taxa itself. Any associated parameters that you might have, as you see there in green. Geographic coverage, so you can see immediately if something is off, like that record in the, which is not in the Mediterranean, so there's something that could be wrong there. And temporal coverage, taxonomic coverage as well. And it also performs various quality checks. Actually, it's over 50 quality checks. And some of them are checking if the depth of the sample is deeper than the seafloor depth. If there are marine taxa reported on land, which is not always an issue, I have to say, for biodiversity, and I can explain why later. If you have invalid dates or coordinates, do note that in biodiversity we also work with historical data. So if you think that Aristotle is the father of biodiversity, so you can go really far back, and also we can't forget indigenous communities recording data through oral history, so all of that information is important. So we go from before Christ all the way to the present. So it's quite a large temporal coverage. We have look at impossible values. So if you have a zero weight in a taxa, why do you have it? Was it recorded? Was it not recorded? So things like that. And any vocabularies that have been deprecated, so we recommend using the ones that are in place. In terms of the scope, the tool was developed for marine data sets, but because it uses the IPT, it can work with terrestrial or freshwater biodiversity data. In terms of the data format, we adhere to Darwin Core because that's what the biodiversity community does use. And is very effective with the OBIS-ENV extension, which allows for the inclusion of those environmental or biotic or abiotic parameters. It currently is done as in R software. It's, you can use it in either as an R package or as a web application. For the usage input data, so your data set needs to be in an IPT resource. I will just go through very quickly on how it looks like with the web application. So you have on the right-hand side a link to where your data set is in IPT. You will have those two menus where you can see just the data overview like I explained initially, where you can see like a map with the locations, and you can immediately see if there's anything that is off. And then you have the various quality checks that you will have to go through and resolve any issues that are found. On the About tab, and I think this is actually the last slide, there is a video showing how to use the tool step by step, and there are some references and other links that you can follow up to learn a bit more if you're not really knowledgeable about biodiversity data. I just wanted to finish and explain why marine taxa on land is not always an error, because we also work with museum collections, and museum collections from the past, they didn't necessarily record locations of where the samples or the creatures were collected. So in many cases, the location will be the museum where the collection is. So you can have some marine fish that were gathered, I don't know, in the Galapagos, but they will be somewhere in a museum in the UK, for example. So they're not necessarily all wrong, but you do need to look at them because, yeah, some can be wrong. So there is always it's not a blanket approach that they're all, you always need a human to understand the data that you're looking at. That's it.
So is there any questions?
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Any questions? Do you collect user feedback on this tool? So I guess it's online available now, and so
Well, not us because it's a GBIF tool.
Yeah.
But yeah, but we provide support to the data providers as we can. But as I said, if it's a bug in the tool, we can't do anything about it. So, but GBIF has a GitHub repo for that, so you just have to log in a bug and they'll sort it. Okay. Yeah.
Any other questions? This is important.
So it's a published once, and it
Yeah.
will be available in different repositories because of this, without extra work.
Yeah.
Really.
And how do you do that? You said you look for deprecated taxa. Is
Yeah.
that manual work or is that regular updated in the
So
tool?
we have, with the worms, we have a taxon match, and as you're matching your species names to the APIDs, like we call it, which is the identifier for the taxa, you can, for taxa, it's not necessarily a problem because things are very dynamic in biology. Something that is not real today might be, again, accepted tomorrow. But for example, with the Biodiversity vocabularies, of course, the collections do change, and some terms are deprecated, replaced by others. And if we find any deprecated terms at the time of submission, we suggest that they are changed to the current terms. But the links will always be there because that's Biodiversity is very good in keeping those. So it's, yeah.
Thank you so much. Okay.